Have you ever wondered how gold is shaped to make the jewelry that we wear today? Gold is an adored type of metal that is worn all around the world by millions of people for fashion and more. It is one of the least reactive chemical elements and is solid under standard conditions. In order for gold to be made into jewelry, it has to be melted first to take on the shapes and sizes of our accessories that we wear today. Gold will first be in a form of a solid before various accessories can be made from it. Melting is a type of phase change in which a substance, ours being gold in this case, goes from a solid state to a liquid state. Gold's melting point is 1064.3 degrees Celsius and the boiling point is 1948 degrees Fahrenheit. Melting is also a physical change because although it's changing its appearance, the substance itself is still gold, just in a different state. In a chemical change, the substance changes completely. For example, burning wood. It changes from wood to ash. It is a physical property and not a chemical property because it can be measured without changing the substance. A chemical property is a characteristic that can only be determined when you change the identity of a substance. Gold is usually in the form of a solid. In a solid, the particles are in a fixed position, tightly packed, and it does take the shape of its container. The particles usually vibrate but generally do not move from place to place. They have very strong intermolecular forces. The intermolecular forces holds the particles together. In a liquid, the particles are still close together, but they have the ability to move past each other with no regular pattern, and their intermolecular forces are strong but not as strong as a solid. In a gas, the particles are farther apart than any of the other states of matter. They are also able to move freely. And in gases, intermolecular forces are very weak. Gold can become all states, but for it to become a gas, it would need to be heated past its boiling point, which is around 5000 degrees Fahrenheit. Conduction is the transfer of heat, and it works best in solids because their molecules are located closer together. When the gold is heated, there is an increase in kinetic energy. When energy is being transferred, what we see is the change in states of matter, so we begin to see it melting. In order for gold to melt, it has to be heated in some way. After the temperature of the gold increases, the particles begin to vibrate faster, and eventually bonds can't interact all that well, causing more distance in between the particles. The intermolecular forces become strained and the solid becomes a liquid. After the gold has melted, it is placed in a plaster, and after it has hardened, it's placed in an oven so that the wax on the bottom of it has melted or burned off. This will leave the shape that we want of the jewelry intact. Next, the jewelry is put into a casting centrifuge, which will cool the jewelry. The casting centrifuge is used to cast jewelry. The whole mechanism is surrounded in a tub or drum to contain hot metal. It uses the force of a centrifuge to create the inertia required to throw gold into the hollow cavity that is left behind. After burnout, the flask is placed in a cradle on a swing arm in direct alignment with a crucible in which gold or platinum will be melted. This is how our jewelry is shaped and created into the beautiful and elegant ways they are today. Thank you for watching.